much of the Metro East from Edwardsville to Waterloo. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports.
Okay, boys, here we go.
Welcome to the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Goldschmidt swings, and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Here we go.
Now, Matt Pauley on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
All right, man, let's get going here.
Here we go. Let's go.
We have arrived to Friday as we welcome you into a Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Have you till 8 o'clock this evening. We've got a lot going on. We're going to break down what we learned a little bit more than an hour ago. The Cardinals pulling off a trade that could really impact this upcoming season in the 2024 Cardinals. So we'll certainly touch on that. Guests who are going to be coming up on the program today include Andrew Ait. He is somebody who is a hitting coordinator for Driveline Baseball. A lot of Major League players go to Driveline. If you saw the social media video recently of Paul Goldschmidt working with some hitting coaches, that was at Driveline. So we'll talk with Andrew Ait and just get his thoughts on Goldschmidt and some other individuals who are connected to Driveline. We've had Andrew on before. Really a great resource to be able to talk Cardinals baseball. Coming up later on in the hour, Jerry Palm from CBS will join us. And then next hour, we'll talk Blues hockey with Matthew DeFranks. But we start off with the trade that the Cardinals pulled off today. They have sent away outfielder Richie Palacios, and in exchange, they bring back relief pitcher and former All-Star Andrew Kittredge from the Tampa Bay Rays. Kittredge has had some very, very good seasons. Most notably, in 2021, he was an American League All-Star. He appeared in a career-high 57 games that year, had a 1.88 ERA, was really good. His strikeout numbers were perfectly fine, 77 strikeouts in 71 and two-thirds innings over his career. He strikes out about one guy per inning. 206 strikeouts in his career, over 214 and two-thirds innings. So he's right there at about a strikeout an inning. I like this move. I think it helps the back end of the bullpen. We have talked so much about the Cardinals needing to add to the back end, getting another arm that's reliable. There are some, I wouldn't call them red flags, but certainly some things to take note of when it comes to Kittredge. Most notably, he's coming off Tommy John surgery. However, he appeared last season. He made 14 appearances last season coming off Tommy John. So he's going into a standard regular offseason. If you look at guys who are coming off Tommy John, generally when they first return to the big leagues, they're not quite back to where they were prior to the surgery. But eventually, especially after a standard offseason, they're able to return to it. So they probably get him at a good time. He is a little bit older. He's going to be going into his age 34 season. That is of note. Interestingly enough, though, he's still arbitration eligible. So he's going to either come to terms with the Cardinals or his arbitration number. Projections have it at about $2.3 million. So pretty good value. I like this move. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about this right out of the gate on the program tonight, but there's people on social media that are upset about this move. And I don't get it. I think if you are upset about this move, there's nothing that the Cardinals could have done outside of signing Shohei Ohtani that would make you happy. That you are so incredibly jaded about this organization and about the moves they have or have not made that when they do make a move that clearly makes the team better, that you're just not going to be happy about it. There's no way for you to be happy. That's the sense I get. Now, are they ready to compete for a World Series right now because Andrew Kittredge is on the roster? No. I still think there's clearly a gap between the Cardinals and say the Dodgers, say the Braves, say the Phillies, teams like that. There's clearly a difference between what those teams have on their roster and what the Cardinals have on their roster. But have the Cardinals filled up some holes? They have. Are they done this offseason? Is this the last move? There had been some reporting here over the last day or two that they were looking to add one more relief pitcher. If this is the one more relief pitcher, I feel like there's still a relief pitcher short. I would still like a guy with a major league track record to join the bullpen. That's something that I would still like to see, but that doesn't mean that this is a bad trade. And I get that Richie Palacios had a fantastic final month of the season. It was fun. He was a great guy in the clubhouse and what had turned into a negative environment in the clubhouse, and not negative because of the guys in there, but just negative because the team was having a bad year. When it turned into a more negative environment, he was still somebody who had a lot of positivity. He was enjoying his opportunity. But for people who think that the Cardinals are giving away some sort of, all-star caliber player for a pitcher who there's a lot of question marks on, I would push back on that. The Cardinals are giving away a player who has 1 month of established big league success. 1 month. 1 month. And they basically got him for nothing, and they were able to benefit from his one very good month. Now, he's going to an organization that has a track record for making players their best version of themselves. The Cardinals are trading with an organization that has the history of moving on from players only when those players are not going to be of extra value. Like the social media joke is to not trade with the Tampa Bay Rays because they know more than you do. And I'm not trying to run away from those things, but from a surface level standpoint, you are getting a guy who, to me, I trust him as much as anybody in the bullpen right off the bat, simply because of track record. At least everybody not named Ryan Helsley. If Helsley stays healthy and shows the ability to pitch more often on back-to-back days, as he did, to give credit where credit is deserved, as he did over the final month of the season last year after he came off the injured list, if that's the Ryan Helsley you have this year, then that's great. You have an all-star caliber closer. If Gallegos can go back to being who he was before this past season, that's great. You got a really strong setup guy. If Jojo Romero can repeat what he did for a month and a half, 2 months at the end of the season last year, that's great. But there's a bunch of ifs. It's if after if after if. And I guess you can argue there's an if with Kittredge, because the if is if he can bounce back from Tommy John surgery. I think that's less of an if, especially since he was pretty effective last year when he came back. He pitched 14 games down the stretch last year for the Rays, had a 3.09 ERA, 10 strikeouts, and 11 2/3 innings. And now he goes into a standard offseason. I think the question marks are much less with Andrew Kittredge than what you're getting with a lot of other players that might be in that bullpen. A lot more on that coming up in a little while, especially during the final hour of the show. But up next, we are going to switch gears. We'll talk with Andrew Hite, hitting coordinator with Driveline Baseball. There was a social media video with him and Paul Goldschmidt that went viral. We'll talk about that and find out some other things about some Cardinals-connected individuals who have been training at Driveline. That conversation is next. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Hi, I'm PJ Vogt, here to tell you about my new podcast, Search Engine. On Search Engine, we tackle the kinds of questions that keep you up at night. Like, why are drug dealers putting fentanyl in everything? Should we be worried that Elon Musk believes that we're living in a simulation? And, for the love of God, is it actually unsafe to drink the coffee on airplanes? On Search Engine, no question is too big and no question is too small. Listen and follow Search Engine with PJ Vogt and Odyssey Podcast. Available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly, and recycle old clothes by donating them. When we each share one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing? Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. This new year, make some resolutions that will improve the environment. Resolve to use less gas in your car. You can carpool to work a couple of days a week. Use public transportation like buses or trains. Combine errands to make fewer trips. And take a walk for any distances of a mile or less. And think about an electric car when looking for your next vehicle. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut.
It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Reel in the big one at the best fishing expo in the Midwest. The Let's Go Fishing Show, January 5th through the 7th at the Gateway Convention Center in Collinsville. Visit vendors with the latest fishing boats, rods, reels, tackle, accessories, resorts, and guided services. Shop unique, one-of-a-kind items and top-of-the-line marine electronics at discount prices. Attend free seminars. Meet pro anglers, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Brandon Polinack, Steve Kennedy, and more. Free fishing pond, too. Visit letsgoshows.com for coupons and more information.
News Radio KMOX, the home of the Cardinals.
There's a high fly ball. That's hit deep. Left center field to the track, to the wall. It is a gunner for Paul Goldschmidt. He hit the ball to the front row. 4-3 Cardinals in the fifth.
It's a Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley, taking you till 8 o'clock. If you're out driving, be safe. A little bit of snow is coming down here in downtown St. Louis. We just heard Paul Goldschmidt. A couple seasons ago, he was a league MVP. This past season, his numbers dropped off a bit. Didn't have a bad season, but certainly did not have the type of season that meets the standard that he had set for himself. And if you've been paying much attention on social media here recently, you have seen that he is one of many ball players that have made their way to the Driveline Baseball Academy. And we're very happy right now to talk with Andrew Eit. He is part of the team. He is the hitting coordinator for Driveline Baseball. You follow him on Twitter at Andrew AYDT. Andrew, thanks for being with us today. How are you?
Thanks for having me back on. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that the video that posted that had Paul Goldschmidt, a lot of Cardinals fans were really taking a look at that and trying to figure out, what they were seeing. Can you take me through a little bit of the work that you've been doing with Goldie this offseason?
Yeah, definitely. So I know we posted 2 different videos. There's kind of 2 different styles there. And so basically, one was more of a speed training video, and then one was more mechanical. So kind of after we go through our assessment, we can kind of break hitters down into our big 3, which is bat speed, bat to ball skills, and swing decisions. And so basically, anytime we're making a change with a hitter, we're going to focus on one of those 3 things for the change. And so we'll have different kind of training days. One to focus more on speed and how hard they're able to hit the ball, and then one to focus more on mechanical adjustments and like changing like bat path to be able to put the ball in play more often. And then when they are putting the ball in play, kind of like improve the quality of those hits. So hitting like line drives, and like in Goldie's case, more like doubles, home runs, to be able to do more damage and produce more value for the team.
There's a lot of Cardinal fans that are worried that maybe age is starting to catch up with him. Are you seeing that at all, or is this a guy who's maybe on track to have a big bounce back this season?
I think he's on track to have a big bounce back year. That's something that's very obvious when he came in. It's very obvious that why he's been so good for so long. He came in great shape, looks really strong, really healthy. He's been a guy that over the course of his career has actually kind of delayed that aging curve really well. So we kind of see guys hit by the aging curve, and the first thing that kind of goes is speed, usually like in their low 30s. He's been able to have well above average speed and how hard he can hit the ball, how fast he can move the bat for a really, really long time. That's why I think one of 2 guys maybe that's won an MVP at 35 or older. So he lost a little bit of speed last year. That's why we saw a little bit drop in production. That's also why he came out the drive line. That's something that we're really good about is adding speed to the game. So he's down a little bit, but he's back up this offseason and making the right adjustments.
All right, so I got to ask you this. One of the videos, his foot was kind of in a sideways position, and a lot of Cardinal fans were taking note of that. I know that's more of a drill, that's not a new stance or anything, but can you explain what people were seeing when they specifically saw the kind of funky-looking foot alignment?
Yeah, so we'll basically go through a lot of different drills. And so that one that was included in the video there was just a drill that he was working through. So when we're looking to like change anything like outcome wise on the field, we can kind of work backwards from there. So we kind of established some goals of performance for next year, some things to change. And then we measured everything in our motion capture lab. So we have a full biomechanics lab here at Driveline in Seattle and in Arizona. And so we can measure exactly how they're moving in their swing, and then we can kind of tailor drills more towards their current movements and where we're trying to get to. So that way it can kind of help them like feel different things and recreate those in their own swing. So that's kind of a drill that just exaggerated something that we were working on. And then whenever he goes back to his regular swing, it just helps him feel that more and like repeat it more often.
Excuse my ignorance here. Had he been with you guys in prior off seasons, or is this his first time there?
This is his first time coming out.
So can you talk me through what it was like for him? Because you do some very unique, very cool things. You know, a guy like him, a guy who's been an MVP, has accomplished so much in his career. What's his attitude like? What's it like when he's seen what you guys do and the way that you're breaking things down, and maybe even seeing some things that he hadn't really seen before in his career?
Yeah, he was very excited about it. He came in and was really open to what we had to say. So we took him through our full assessment. So basically measuring how he's moving in the box and how he's interacting with the ground. So we have force plates in the batter's box. So we can basically measure how he's interacting with the ground, how well he's using it, how much force he's putting into it in the direction it is, how it's coming back up his body. And then we have like 47 markers all over their body to measure like to the smallest angle and detail about like how each body part is moving and how that's all like interacting and working together to cause the results that we see on the field. And so that's something that he hadn't done before. So he's very excited about that. And we were able to just put all that stuff together for him, sit down in the meeting room and just kind of talk for a couple hours through all the stuff and goals that he had and any changes he wanted to make, and then create a training plan from there. But he was very excited because it's something that he was looking to, help take his game to the next level again, even though he's been performing at the highest level, one of the best hitters on the planet for 13 or 14 years.
I know guys come in and they're there to listen to you and your whole team and see all this stuff, but great teachers, great instructors do a lot of listening as well. What have you learned from him in this whole process?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the coolest things about what we do is, we sit down in that meeting room, kind of like getting to know everyone throughout the week and the different testing and training days. And then we sit down in the room and nothing's kind of like, us telling them what to do. It's a good back and forth conversation on what's worked with them in the past, like where they want to get to. And he was really, really impressive of how well he knew himself. So out of all the hitters we've had come in over the years, he's probably at the top of that list of knowing how well like his body works, like what works for him, what doesn't. And that really just helped us like tailor the program more towards him individually and not maybe waste any time on anything that like we'd have to work through that couldn't work for him. We kind of just like hit the ground running.
We are continuing to talk with Andrew Wright, hitting coordinator with Driveline Baseball. You've had a number of different Cardinals in at various times. Nolan Arenado, Lars Nootbaar. It's well documented that those guys have been in. Have those guys been part of what you've been doing this offseason?
Yep. Yeah. So they've been spending some good time back home training with us remotely and kind of building on past years. So that's something that is pretty cool about what we do at Drivelines. We have a lot of like software and systems in place that we don't have to be in person with the guy all the time. So we have like their training program laid out at the beginning of the off season, and then they can kind of execute it remotely just by like logging into our app and then be able to like go step by step through their different progressions and drill work. And then we're just constantly communicating with them throughout the week as well.
I basically asked you the same question about Nolan Arenado that I asked you about Paul Goldschmidt. He also did not have the type of season that he's used to. Is he somebody that you look at and see he's ready to have a bounce back as well?
Yeah, he definitely is. I think that speaks volume to both of those guys is they both had really good years or very good years, but it wasn't up to their standard. So that's why they were back in and looking to make adjustments to then put them right back on the path to have those Goldie and Arenado type years and like really set the tone for the rest of the team.
It's kind of funny that we're talking to you right now because Richie Palacios, about an hour and a half ago, ends up getting traded to the Tampa Bay Rays. I know he's been in. A lot of Cardinal fans were excited about what he did in the final month of the season. It's also it's 1 month. He doesn't have that big major league track record. What are you expecting from him moving forward as now he becomes a Tampa Bay Ray?
Yeah, I think we're going to see Richie go to Tampa and put up some really good years for probably a long time. He had, like you said, he had a good year last year in the bats he got when he came up. And then he spent this whole offseason really training hard and making some good adjustments. So he's seen some really big like exit velocity jumps and be able to hit the ball much harder. That was kind of like the lowest hanging fruit for him. Like on our big three, he kind of had below average speed, but he had a really good, like above average ability to put the ball in play, to make contact and have high contact quality when he did, and make really good swing decisions. So kind of like the lowest hanging fruit for him was just hitting the ball harder. And he's actually, I think it's up like 8 miles an hour this off season in his max exit velocity. So then his average exit velocity and those numbers will be up too. So I would expect him to have a really good year this year.
Well, you mentioned your big three. Is there one that's more important than the other two?
That's a great question. They're all three really important. And you need all three to be able to be a big league hitter and be a complete hitter. But the way we kind of think about it is bat speed sets the hitter's floor and ceiling. And then the other two is bat to ball skills and swing decisions, determine where they live between those two. So there's kind of some prerequisites of being able to get to be a MLB hitter. But we generally see the guys that swing the bat faster and hit the ball harder are going to have more success at that level.
How challenging is it to work through the swing decisions part? Because if you're facing a major league fastball, you have like 0.4 of a second to make contact.
Yeah, it's what I say. It's the hardest thing to do in sports, right? And so that's one of the hardest things to train is to make adjustments there. And so that's actually something that's probably is more trained in season, or like more adjustments are made in season. There's definitely stuff you can do in the off season with just like practicing different pitch types and like getting a lot of reps out of like high velo machines. A lot of the machines we have these days are pretty incredible. Like you can basically plug in on an iPad to the machine, like what pitch type you want to face, the velo of it, what kind of spin it has on it, the location of the zone. So you can get like really detailed practice with that stuff. And then kind of when you get into the season, you're like trying to improve that more with like game planning approach. So based off that night starter, you're going to like hunt or sit a certain pitch type and kind of ignore some other ones, or different kind of like count-based stuff. Depending on the count or situation you're in, you're going to look for different things.
He is Andrew Eit, hitting coordinator with Driveline Baseball. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time. Happy New Year. We look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having me on again.
Awesome. Very good. That's Andrew Eit joining us from Driveline Baseball. We will take a break. And when we return, we are going to switch gears at just a bit. We'll talk college football and the College Football National Championship game with Jerry Palm from CBS. That's up next. This is Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Our goal at NeoVitan is to make supporting your nutrition as easy as possible. That's why we created the NeoVitan monthly subscription. Just go to neovitan.com, choose your multivitamin, sign up, and we will do the rest. You'll receive your NeoVitan multivitamin every month with no long-term obligation. You can pause or cancel at any time, and shipping is free. Each NeoVitan multivitamin includes our physician-formulated proprietary blend for nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Start supporting your nutrition the easy way with NeoVitan multivitamins. Sign up for a NeoVitan subscription today at neovitan.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Hey, it's weight loss coach Charles D'Angelo. You're about to hear from one of my clients, Jules Curley, a local wedding planner, talk about how she's dropped 70 pounds on my program.
Life before Charles, I was a person who'd put my family and my friends' needs above myself constantly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when it means that you're neglecting your own health and well-being, then that's when the problem arises. My therapist actually recommended that I look into Charles, and I did, and the phone call was unlike any other phone call that I've had from a fitness coach before. He truly wanted to know like why my weight was a problem, not just like how many calories are you eating in a day or what's your fitness like. It was what makes you tick, what makes you want to eat bad food. It's honestly the best money I've ever spent. It's an investment in yourself, and I truly cannot think of a better way to spend my money than working with Charles.
Schedule your free coaching consultation today at charlesdangelo.com.
You couldn't pick a worse time to sell your home. Sure, your home is worth a small fortune right now, but are you really going to swap your 2 or 3% current interest rate and pay 7 or 8% interest on a new house? No way. You don't have to with the Get Paid and Stay program from Truehold. This is ingenious. With the Get Paid and Stay program, Truehold will buy your home now at its best current value. You bank the cash and stay in your home until interest rates come back down, or as long as you like. It's your call. Plus, you won't have to pay property taxes, insurance, or upkeep anymore. Truehold pays those expenses. Learn more about Truehold's Get Paid and Stay program. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. After an injury, you need someone you can trust to explain and carry you through. At Underlaw, we know what it's like to face tough times. We know how hard it can be to see a light at the end of the tunnel, especially when you're hurt, struggling to make ends meet, and overwhelmed by our legal system. We're not only on your side, we're by your side.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Call 314 or 618-900,000 to learn more.
This is the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
On America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
We continue on here on KMOX, and we're going to head back to the Quiver River Electric guest line, talk a little college football and the national championship game coming up on Monday. But also there's a big college basketball game on tonight, and a very good person to talk about that with is Jerry Palm from CBS. You follow him on Twitter at JP Palm CBS. Jerry, always appreciate you taking some time with us. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am good. A lot of people around here. We're in Illinois country, obviously. Excited for this Illinois-Purdue game tonight. Purdue ranked number 1, Illinois ranked number 9. I know you have a vested interest in Purdue, so I just
actually
okay. All right. So I wanted to get your initial thoughts on what is a very big game coming up tonight.
Yeah, this could be a real test for Illinois to try and win a game like this without Shannon. It's he's such a big part of what they do. I don't know how you replace him in a game like this. Zach Edey's already a problem. Now you're missing your best scorer. It's it's hard to be optimistic for Illinois tonight, but if they can be competitive in a game like this, then or even win it, then obviously that's a big boost and a big message that they can play at a level that it would take to win a game like this without Shannon.
Well, all indications are, this seems like it's going to be a drawn-out legal process. There's really no reason to believe that Terrence Shannon's going to suit up again this season for Illinois.
Yeah, that would be shocking, really.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure we're all on the same page. All right, let's jump over to college football. The college football national championship game, the playoff national championship game going to be coming up on Monday. You get 2 undefeated teams. You get the 1-2 matchup, Michigan and Washington. I don't think a lot of people expected Washington to be here, but here's the matchup. But it feels like most people are picking Michigan. Does Washington have a shot in this game?
Sure they do. They've got I know we didn't win the Heisman Trophy, but Michael Penix Jr. is arguably the best quarterback in college football. Tremendous season, so much different than the kid we saw in the Big Ten when he was at Indiana. He's thicker now. He's more calm in the pocket now. He's got the best offensive line in the country in front of him, or at least they won the award for the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line. So I think this game ends up coming down to, can that offensive line keep him clean? Can they hold off that front seven and give him time to throw those passes that he throws so well? I mean, downfield, right on the money. If you can give him time, if you can keep him clean, he can pick you apart. And I like Michigan's offense to have some success against the Washington defense, which is good, probably underrated because our offense is so special. But, I think this is a game that's probably going to get to the 30s, the low 30s. That's kind of Washington style. Michigan doesn't usually give up that much. They can score it, but they don't usually give it up. But if this game is close at all at the end, I'm thinking Washington, because win close games is what they do. It's what they've done all year, 10 games in a row.
Our sports director here at KMOX, Tom Ackerman, is an Indiana guy, and I think he speaks for a lot of Indiana fans when it's kind of like, where was this guy when he was at Indiana? Is it a credit to the coaching staff at Washington in addition to the individual himself for what he's turned himself into?
Well, yeah, it's partly that. I mean, DeBoer was with him there for a little bit at Indiana. Yeah. So they knew each other already, but it's really just physical and emotional maturity. Just the kind of a natural thing. He was a young guy at Indiana, still learning how to play that position really at the college level. And, now he's a senior, and, he's got good coaching at Washington, a guy he's familiar with, good talent around him. But it's really just a matter of maturity for him that he's able to do what he can do now.
This Michigan team has clearly been through as much as any team in college football this season, and they've just kept winning. They're very talented, but how impressive is it that these distractions, as many distractions as any team in the country has dealt with this year, that they did find a way just to win every single week?
Yeah, it really speaks to, I think, the maturity of that team, the players on that team, the focus on the task at hand and not worrying about the things they can't control. And that speaks to not just good leadership among, the assistant coaches who were, doing triage during those times, but also the players themselves. It's a mature team. It's an older team. And, their focus on doing what they're supposed to do, whether Jim Harbaugh is there or not, was impressive.
Do you think Harbaugh is going to stick around? Because we keep hearing things about, Michigan wants to give him a contract, but there was an agent thing with a guy who works in the NFL. I mean, it feels like every day it's a different message coming out about his future.
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh's name is associated with every open NFL job for at least the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, it's probably not going to be any different this year. I think he's happy at Michigan, as long as he can stay out of trouble and they're still happy with him. I think Michigan turned out to be the right fit for him. Maybe someday he'll want to go back to the NFL. He's not personally saying things like that. He seems to be committed to staying at Michigan as long as they're willing to have him, and of course, as long as they're continuing to win.
Jerry Palm from CBS Sports joining us for just a couple more moments. Do you think the committee sighed a bit of a relief? Because obviously it was controversial leaving Florida State out, even leaving Georgia out. They were the number one team for much of the season. Was it a sigh of relief for them that the two semifinal games were clearly very competitive contests?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't erase the injustice they did to Florida State. Georgia was never in the picture once they lost. But the fact that the games were competitive, I guess, was nice. I'm sure they're happy about that. But Florida State was treated horribly in this system. We should not have a system where the only team that beats a major conference team is a committee.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Florida State is going to be out of the ACC?
If they can figure it out, and how much are they willing to pay to do it? If they can do that, I mean, yes, that's definitely the goal, out of the ACC. Where they go from there, I don't know. The SEC would make the most sense geographically, although we've seen that doesn't matter to anybody anymore. No. But they need that is the goal. If they can afford it and they can figure out a way to do it, then they'll definitely be out.
Do you think there'll ever be a little bit more common sense here where at the very least, even if you have these crazy football conferences, that they find a way for the non-revenue sports to be in more geographic type conferences?
I hope so, because it's really kind of nuts for them. Football plays once a week. So, you travel anywhere for football games, non-conference games, whatever, bowl games. You're always traveling, but you play once a week, so it's not that big a deal. But, you're a baseball team and you've got a 3-game series somewhere, or you've got a Wednesday game and a 3-game series on the weekend, or softball or volleyball, or, just about every other sport doesn't have that big of a gap among their schedules, or that little activity really in their schedules. And so it's really kind of a pain for them. But nobody really thinks about them. We're just going to get enough money to make it right for you, I guess, is the attitude. But yeah, I would like someday, I hope somebody can figure out a way to do it, to get it so that the other sports are not so adversely affected by whatever's going on in football.
He is Jerry Palm, covers college football and college basketball for CBS Sports. He is at Mackey Arena tonight for the big Purdue-Illinois game. Jerry, enjoy that contest. We hope at the very least it is a good one. I know Purdue is a double-digit favorite, so we'll see what happens. But thank you, as always, for being so gracious with your time.
All right, thank you.
There's Jerry Palm joining us here on the program, and we appreciate a few moments with him. Looks like the snow is really starting to come down in downtown St. Louis. I know Dave Murray had been telling us all day that the streets were going to stay warm enough that it wouldn't impact it. But, man, that snow, it's coming down pretty solid right now. We'll take a break. We'll get back into baseball, talk about the trade that the Cardinals made today. If you've got any thoughts on the trade, we'd love to hear from you. You can call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. Or you tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Your thoughts of the trade that the Cardinals have pulled off. They send out Richie Palacios. They bring in a new pitcher, a relief pitcher, and Andrew Kittredge. We'll talk you through it a little bit more as we roll on with the Gray Bar Sports Open Line in just a moment here on KMOX.
This is Tom Ackerman. At the end of last Cardinals season, manager Oliver Marmol wanted to get together with fans, make himself available to answer all of their questions. And it is happening Thursday, January 18th at Tapawingo National Golf Club. For $75, a beef tenderloin dinner, 2 complimentary cocktails, and an intimate conversation with Ollie Marmol. Purchase your tickets today. They are online and they will go fast. KMOX.com/events.
Attention credit card holders. If you owe at least $10,000 in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, you may qualify to have your debt settled for a fraction of what you owe. With high interest rates and credit card debt in America at all-time highs, consumer debt relief has never been available at a better time. A consumer helpline has been established by Debt Boss for you to call and see what savings you may qualify for. Call 800-355-6235. Experienced and certified debt specialists are standing by who will negotiate with your creditors to get you maximum savings and one reduced monthly payment. You don't have to take out a consolidation loan or declare bankruptcy. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. To see what savings you qualify for, simply go to debtboss.com or call the helpline now at 800-355-6235. 800-355-6235. That's 800-355-6235.
Clutter and junk have got you cornered.
Every time you turn around, there's more than there was before.
You barely have room to move.
You're so crowded, it's hard to breathe.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point. Now you breathe fresh air. Freedom.
Now you've got the breath to sing.
Now you've got the space to entertain.
Now you've got a big home.
A happy home.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Hey, folks, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, I recently received the nicest email from a local business executive. It read, "Hey, Charlie, we had Morelli out today to do tuck pointing on our chimneys, and they did a great job. Pricing was fair. They had enough workers to get it done in a day, and the cleanup was exceptional. Thanks for the recommendation." If you've noticed loose bricks or missing mortar on the walls, patio, walkway, porch, or chimney of your home or business, contact the masonry specialists of St. Louis since 1991, Morelli Tuck Pointing. You know, This is the company that's won the Angie's List Super Service Award every year, back to back to back, since 2005. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com and consult the reviews on the Google, Angie's List, and Better Business Bureau websites. MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Dive into all things Cardinals on Cardinals Conversations, your go-to location for exclusive content from KMOX. Catch it on the Odyssey app or your favorite podcast platform. Stay connected with your team. Cardinals Conversations, where the Redbird talk never stops.
Our Sports Open Line here on KMOX. We are taking you until 8 o'clock this evening. If you want to join the program, we're about to talk about the Cardinals trade from today. Again, they acquire former All-Star pitcher Andrew Kittredge from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for outfitter Richie Palacios. Your thoughts on it? We'll take them. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text, or you can tweet at me if you'd like, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. I like the move. I just, if this is the roster they begin the season with, again, I don't think this is the roster that's going to go win you a World Series. Can this roster win you an NL Central? Maybe. They're right there. The Cubs haven't done anything this offseason. I think the Brewers are going to take a step back. The Reds are a young, scary team, but it feels like they're still not quite ready for prime time. But the goal isn't winning the NL Central. I mean, that's one of the goals, but it's not the end-all, be-all goal. This is an organization that has won a lot of World Series, and the goal on an every-year basis is to go and win a World Series. So I don't like the roster in terms of a World Series champion right now, but I think Andrew Kittredge makes you better. I think Andrew Kittredge makes the bullpen significantly better. He's a guy with a track record. He's a guy who's been an all-star. He's a guy who's got a fair amount of swing and miss. Now, he's not going to overpower you. He's not a 99 to 101 type fastball, but he's a guy who you look at what he can do. Sinker, slider guy. Slider is really good. It's really good. And the Tampa Bay Rays, because they are as good as any team in baseball at allowing players, and specifically pitchers, but players, they allow pitchers to become the best version of themselves. And they figured out what the best version of him was, and it relied a lot on that slider. And he throws a lot of strikes, doesn't walk very many guys. That's a big part of what he does as well. So he's averaging a strikeout per inning, doesn't walk that many guys. His overall career numbers of 7 years in the big leagues, 206 strikeouts compared to 56 walks. So he's got about a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. That's good. That's really good. So I look at him right now, and as I look at the way that the bullpen is built, Ryan Helsley obviously is still the guy who you think most highly of. There are question marks on him. The question marks are, can he stay healthy? How often is he going to be able to pitch on back-to-back days? Is he going to be able to give you 3 out of 4 days? A lot of times where maybe he's been unavailable previously in his career, is it going to change a bit? If you get the Ryan Helsley that you had at the end of the season last year, well, then that's fantastic, because he was very effective and he pitched on back-to-back days. And that's what you need. But with all due respect to everybody else in that bullpen, I just immediately kind of put Kittredge in as that number 2 guy, your 8th inning guy, your guy who's going to cover the 9th if Helsley is not available. Now, there's other players who have something to say about that for sure, and I get that, and I'm not trying to run away from that. But I like this move, and I think it makes the team better. I've seen, look, social media is not exactly a kind place, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit next hour because of the reaction to the Cardinals announcement yesterday of the Billy Joel Steen concert. The social media reaction to that announcement was wild. I couldn't believe what I was reading and seeing and responding to. I know Kevin Wheeler talked about it a little bit earlier today during the Dave Glover show. We're going to get into that next hour. So I get it. So social media doesn't represent the world, and social media tends to be a pretty negative place. I don't understand the negativity that is connected to this move, because I don't know how you can argue that this move doesn't make the team better. It clearly makes the team better. It clearly deepens the bullpen. And right now, the bullpen is the single biggest need for the Cardinals. Is there a chance they're done? There is. And if they're done, that's not great. I would still like to see them add another well-established relief pitcher. And you know what? I would not be against this team adding another starting pitcher either. And the name that continues to hang out there that will be interesting to see what happens is Dylan Cease with the White Sox, because he's been available to teams for a while. And we keep hearing the reports. Ken Rosenthal had something in The Athletic yesterday that continues to connect the Cardinals to Cease. Maybe it does turn into a situation like what happened last year with Sean Murphy. When Murphy went to the Braves, what really happened there was the Braves just outlasted everybody else, specifically the Cardinals. The A's were asking a lot. The Cardinals were not going to give up what the A's were asking for. They changed their attention. They got Wilson Contreras. All of a sudden, the market for Murphy was very different. There was one team standing. That was the Braves. And you look at the package that was given up for Murphy. If you are to believe the reporting on what was being asked initially, that wasn't even close. And I have to think that if some version of that package from the Cardinals was being asked for Murphy, that might have been a very different negotiation. So does some version of that happen with Dylan Cease? Do the White Sox have such high expectations for what they're going to get back that nobody is going to give that to them? And all of a sudden, some of these teams that are in the running start looking at other places. You've still got obviously a Blake Snell that's hanging out there. There's other trades that can be made. Are there enough teams that kind of fall off that track where all of a sudden the Cardinals are one of the last teams standing and that asking price goes down? And then if the asking price goes down, the next thing the White Sox would have to make the decision on is, do you pull a trigger on a trade in the offseason simply because it's been very well known that you had him on the market? Or do you try this again at the trade deadline and try to get more teams involved at that point, thinking that you can get a little bit more at that point? So maybe the Cardinals go get a Dylan Cease. Maybe the Cardinals still go find a relief pitcher that's got a track record. All those are kind of sidebar type stories to the main story here, and that's that the bullpen is significantly improved with the addition of someone like Andrew Kittredge. Again, in his last full season before he had Tommy John surgery, this guy was an all-star, and he was pretty dominant. And if he returns to that, and there's no reason to believe he won't, he's a little older, coming up on his age 34 season, but that's not super old or anything like that. So I think this is good for the Cardinals. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. I'm Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Join KMOX for an exclusive evening at Tampa Wingo Golf Club with St. Louis Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol and Oliver Marmol Unplugged. For just $75, enjoy a delightful beef tenderloin dinner, 2 complimentary drinks, and insightful discussions hosted by Tom Ackerman. Gain unique insights into being the Cardinals manager and what he expects for the 2024 season. Secure your tickets now at KMOX.com/events. Oliver Marmol Unplugged. Don't miss this special evening at Tampa Wingo Golf Club, January 18th.
Reel in the big one at the best fishing expo in the Midwest. The Let's Go Fishing Show, January 5th through the 7th at the Gateway Convention Center in Collinsville. Visit vendors with the latest fishing boats, rods, reels, tackle, accessories, resorts, and guided services. Shop unique, one-of-a-kind items and top-of-the-line marine electronics at discount prices. Attend free seminars. Meet pro anglers, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Brandon Polinack, Steve Kennedy, and more. Free fishing pond, too. Visit letsgoshows.com for coupons and more information.
Paid for by government.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-456-2466, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-456-2466. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-456-2466 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-456-2466.
Do you miss the simplicity and reliability of a landline?
With a landline service, conversations were never cut off because your internet stopped working.
Your grandkids couldn't lose your home phone on some playground.
Now landlines are back and better than ever with Community Phone. Community Phone offers home phone service starting at just $39 a month. And today, get 50% off your first month when you call 1-866-260-4074. With Community Phone, there are no contracts, no internet needed, no complicated wiring. A classic landline, but with the latest upgrades like caller ID, voicemail, spam call blocking, unlimited nationwide calls, and more. And the phone works even if the power goes out. You can even keep your own phone number or get a new one. You can set up your home phone service with Community Phone in 30 seconds, all by yourself. Today, get 50% off your first month when you call 1-866-260-4074. Call 1-866-260-4074 today to get 50% off. 1-866-260-4074.
KMOX KEZK HD2 St. Louis.
This is KMOX, the trusted voice of St. Louis. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Staples.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Supreme Court justices will hear Donald Trump's appeal of Colorado's decision to keep him off the GOP primary ballot as an insurrectionist. More from CBS's Peter King.
The High Court's decision is hardly a surprise, but with a commitment to hear the case next month, whatever happens should happen quickly. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
We need to have clarity on this question of whether or not the front runner for the Republican nomination is in fact qualified to be president of the United States, or if he's legally barred from being so.
It's the first time the High Court will consider the provision of the 14th Amendment, which bars some who engage in insurrection from holding public office. Oral arguments are set for February 8th. Peter King, CBS News.
President Biden hits the campaign trail with a stop near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. While speaking about the U.S. Capitol attack, he took aim at his predecessor, accusing former President Trump of sacrificing U.S. democracy for power.
They were insurrectionists, not patriots. They weren't there to uphold the Constitution. They were there to destroy the Constitution.
President Biden warned against Trump's re-election, calling January 6th a day we nearly lost America. More than 40 million people are bracing for a wintry mess of snow, ice, and rain this weekend, and another powerful storm is right on its heels. CBS's Errol Barnett.
The entire storm system is trekking northeast, where some cities await the first significant snowfall in nearly 2 years. Carl Gooch in Massachusetts is grabbing last-minute sand.
A little nervous because we haven't had, this much snow for a while.
A snow-deprived Boston, meantime, could be covered in half a foot of snow.
Our city teams are out there trying to prepare the streets, treat them before the snow comes down.
That's Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. The National Weather Service says localized accumulations of snowfall could exceed 1 foot in areas of higher elevation. Ice is also a concern, with up to 1/4 of an inch forecasted for parts of Virginia, West Virginia, and the Carolinas. The Food and Drug Administration has agreed to allow the state of Florida to begin importing cheaper prescription drugs from Canada. CBS's Jim Krasula.
It's the first time a U.S. state has used the approach after years of complaints and frustration with high U.S. drug prices. Importing cheaper drugs has long been popular with patients and consumer groups, but has faced years of pushback by the pharmaceutical industry.
During the 1970s, he was one half of Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, Starsky, I love you, but our taste and wheels don't exactly match.
David Soul was Detective Ken Hutch Hutchinson, the blonde half of the crime-fighting duo. Soul's wife says the actor died in the loving company of family. He was 80 years old. This is CBS News.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 7
7:03. We've got heavy snow and 33 degrees in downtown at the Arch. I'm Melanie Steen. Our top local story this hour. Detailed crime stats are back. St. Louis police were criticized for not restoring access to geographic information on exactly where crimes are happening. The department had taken it down from public view in 2020. The Post-Dispatch had profiled crime reduction research that was hindered by that move. Now the department says they've discovered the crime maps actually were being compiled for another organization. City police have now posted several years of crime stats and say they will update them every month. The St. Louis City Department of Health is now recommending masking indoors for all City of St. Louis employees. That has been downgraded from a mandate when it was originally issued this morning. The recommendation also goes for city residents. That's due to an increase in respiratory virus numbers. KMOX's health editor, Fred Bottomer, reports.
So a few reminders are needed here when it comes to masking.
Like I said, the basic surgical mask, where it's useful is if a lot of people wear it, it does prevent spread because you're preventing the spread of respiratory particulates amongst a large group of people that are close together. It doesn't confer any protection to you.
Dr. Fred Buckhold is a SLU Care general internist at SSM Health, St. Louis University Hospital.
If you're wearing just a basic surgical mask or even worse, a cloth mask, you're preventing the spread to others, but it's doing nothing to protect you. If you're worried about yourself, again, we need to go to the higher particulate masks, the N95 or the KN95.
Better yet, says Dr. Buckhold, make sure you're up to date on all your vaccinations, beginning with the flu shot, then COVID, then RSV if you're at high risk. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Some viral particles found in wastewater in the Midwest show an increase in COVID. However, what it does not show is how severe the cases are or how many people have COVID. That's according to Dr. Alex Garza with SSM Health.
Being able to translate that then down to an individual level or something like what you're discussing can be a little bit tricky.
Dr. Garza says Missouri is one of the leading states in the U.S. when it comes to testing wastewater for viral particles. St. Louis County Police were called in to investigate a crash involving an SUV into a home. According to our news partners at Fox 2, the call came in at around 11:30 a.m. A preliminary investigation shows the driver of the SUV was heading eastbound on Forder when he drove off the road and into a home on Rieger Road. Authorities say the driver was most likely traveling at a high rate of speed and lost control. The home was unoccupied at the time of the crash. The driver was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Turning to your forecast, a wintry mix continues as this weather system continues moving from southwest to northeast through the St. Louis metro. Some patchy fog developing after 9 p.m. with a low of around 32 degrees. An inch or less is possible by the time the winter storm finally clears the area. And for Saturday, we'll have cloudy skies with a slight chance of rain in the afternoon and a high of 40. Right now, we've got heavy snow in Florissant and 36 degrees. Snow being reported in St. Peters, also 36 degrees. And heavy snow in downtown at the Arch at 33 degrees. I'm Melanie Steen, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
On America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Back at it here on KMOX. It is a Graybar Sports Open Line. My name is Matt Pauley. As we get into the second hour of the program, we take you to 8 o'clock tonight. Again, the snow is continuing to come down. Looks like there's a few patches on the street, but nothing crazy. A little bit of snow landing onto cars. But as we have heard from Dave Murray throughout much of the day, we don't have to worry about the street getting too much snow and too slick as a result of the temperature staying warm enough. So hopefully that does remain true. But yeah, snow certainly is coming down. So keep an eye on that as we move forward. So today was actually a pretty busy day in baseball. Yesterday we had the Countdown to Opening Day show, Mike Claiborne and myself. And one of the things that we discussed is how once you get into the new year, that's when the pressure starts to change a little bit. You have players who have been maybe a little bit patient, realizing that things don't just happen overnight and some other things have to happen that maybe doesn't immediately impact them. And then, that patience is there. But by the time you get to this time of the year, I mean, spring training is right around the corner. And if you're a ball player, you want to know where you're going to be at. Are you going to be in Arizona? Are you going to be in Florida? What team are you going to be with? You start to get your living accommodations put together. Not that stuff can't be done on the fly. It certainly is. I mean, that happens a lot with teams, to be sure, or with individuals, to be sure. But you like to have some comfort when you get this time of the year. And when you look at what happened today in baseball, it was a pretty busy day. In addition to the Cardinals trading Richie Palacios in exchange for Andrew Kittredge, the Mets made the signing of Harrison Bader official. The Mariners traded left-hand pitcher Robbie Ray to the Giants in exchange for Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani. The White Sox, they signed Martin Maldonado today. The Rays had another move. They sent away Luke Raley, and maybe that's part of why they needed Richie Palacios. Palacios, by the way, is going to get more of an opportunity, you would think, with the Rays. People are dismissive of this trade from a Cardinals perspective and worried about moving on from Palacios. Palacios was in line to be a fifth outfielder for the Cardinals, with not much major league track record, not much at all. Whereas he'll get an opportunity to play more in Tampa, you would think, if he continues to perform well. And Kittredge is going to come in and be a key part. So the team is better. I don't think you can argue that the team didn't get better today. The arguments that are being made by fans is that the team didn't get enough better. And look, Cardinals could be done. That could be it. They'll make some other small moves. There'll be some guys who are signed to minor league contracts with invite to spring training and things like that. If that ends up playing out, and I think there is a possibility that this is essentially, there's a possibility that this is kind of it for the Cardinals in terms of bigger type moves or guys who are going to have major roles on the team, but it also might not be. And John Mozeliak has said it over and over and over, whether it's on this station, whether it's in media scrums, whatever it might be. He has said on many occasions that you don't close doors. And that's why I mentioned the Dylan Cease thing in our last hour, where every time that somebody like Ken Rosenthal talks about Dylan Cease, the Cardinals get mentioned. So again, I'm not on these phone calls. I'm not in these rooms where these phone calls are taking place. I don't know how much conversation is actually taking place, but as long as the Cardinals continue to be mentioned, and as long as Cease remains with the White Sox and therefore available in trade, I don't think anybody has closed the door on him possibly coming in. And look, am I happy with where the Cardinals are at right now in their roster? No, there's some spots that I would like filled. I think they could use another top 2 starter. I love the signing of Sonny Gray. I'm excited to see what Sonny Gray is going to do with this team. After Sonny Gray, whatever order you put those guys in, with Michaelis and Gibson and Lynn and Matz, it feels like you got a bunch of number 3 or maybe probably even number 4 starters at that point. So you got one guy at the top, and Sonny Gray was second in the American League Cy Young Award voting last year. I have no problem with him being your number 1. But again, when we talk about this team being built for a postseason run, it feels like there's still one high-end starting pitcher away from that happening. And I think Dylan Cease would fill that role. I'd love to see Dylan Cease become a Cardinal. The question is, can they work out a deal? What's the asking price? Is it something that would make sense for the Cardinals? And the longer this plays out, I think the better it is for the Cardinals. If we're a week out from spring training getting underway and the White Sox have not moved Cease, at that point, some of these other teams that are interested with him, they're going to have to make a move, and they're going to have to find other pieces to go into the starting rotation. But the bottom line is, we are now at the point of the year where things are happening. I listed all those things that happened today, and I would expect more and more things to happen. And winter warm-up and Cardinal Caravan, those are right around the corner. By the way, the caravan I'm going on, it was supposed to have Richie Palacios on it. So I'm missing out the opportunity to be with Richie Palacios, as he is obviously not on that caravan anymore because he's not part of the Cardinals. But I know that in a perfect world, when the Cardinals add big pieces to the roster, they like being able to add those big pieces prior to winter warmup. You want to be able to have those guys there. The winter warmup is a huge part of what this organization does. Obviously, the money that is being raised for Cardinal Care is a big part of what's going on. It is the big offseason event, and very few teams have events the size of winter warm up and then Cardinal Caravan as well. So by the way, if you're interested in either of those events, cardinals.com/WWU, that's where the tickets are available for a winter warm up, or cardinals.com/caravan if you want to see any of the spots that we're going to be going out on the Caravan. Since I'm plugging things, just a reminder for you that we've got the big night with Oliver Marmol that's going to be going on at Tapawingo. And if you're looking to purchase tickets, would certainly encourage you to do that sooner than later. You've heard us talk about, I'm so excited for the Cardinal fans who are able to get themselves tickets for this event. At some point in time, this is going to sell out. It's a very limited amount of people that are going to be able to do this. Maybe you've heard the promo that Tom Ackerman has voiced that runs on the station, where he specifically says that Oliver Marmol wanted the opportunity to speak with Cardinals fans kind of in a direct way. And that's what this is. So it's going to be going on Thursday, January 18th, Thursday, January 18th from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, Tapawingo National Golf Course. You get a ticket for $75, 2 complimentary drinks, beef tenderloin dinner with 2 sides. You get a salad. Additional drinks are available for purchase. And most importantly, an unplugged conversation with Oliver Marmol. This is not something that's going to be recorded. This is not something that we're going to be airing here on KMOX. This is just going to be in kind of an intimate evening with the Cardinals manager. So if you're interested in this, and if you've got the financial means to do so, I hope you take advantage of it, because I think it's a cool event. And I would actually, if you're kind of one of the anti-Oliver Marmol people out there, I would even more so encourage you to do this, because as somebody who does get the opportunity to hear from him and talk to him, I always love his answers when it comes to baseball related conversations. And I think a lot of people, if you get that opportunity, might have the same type of takeaway. So again, KMOX.com/events if you are interested in that. We are going to take a break, and when we return, we'll talk Blues hockey. Matthew DeFranks covers the Blues for the Post-Dispatch and STL Today. He joins us in just a moment as we roll on with a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. No one should be injured or be the victim of assault when using a rideshare service. These companies need to be held accountable.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get the power of a cut above. Decades of expertise to transform your home. From so-so to virtuoso. The power of neighborhood painters. We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put the power of pro to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzz warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
So, you got a new gadget over the holidays. Don't forget to listen to your favorite station on Odyssey. Unwrapped a new Amazon Echo or Google Home? Be sure to tell your smart speaker to play your favorite station. Received a new Sonos speaker? Check on Odyssey on the Sonos app for access to hundreds of stations. Got a new phone? Don't forget that the Odyssey app is the only way you can jump to your favorite show with Rewind. No matter what you received this year, listen to your favorites with Odyssey. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Says here that Gray Bar is a distributor?
Yeah. We support electrical and datacom projects all over the country.
So you can get me the products I need, where and when I need them?
Yeah, thanks to our national logistics network.
Any industry?
Yeah, construction, industrial plants, schools, hospitals.
So you could say Gray Bar is much more than a distributor.
Yeah, you could say that. When you need a hand powering, connecting, or maintaining your operations, join the thousands of professionals who rely on Gray Bar to help keep them up and running. Yeah, Gray Bar does that.
One of the most important decisions you can make before you retire is when you file for Social Security. Forbes said 96% of Americans get it wrong. and it costs them an average of $111,000 in lifetime income. Financial and tax architects, your retirement professors, want to help you get it right. So they've added new dates for Retirement Planning 101, their one-night adult education class held at colleges and universities throughout Greater St. Louis. In this 3-hour class, you'll learn about when you should file for Social Security, plus retirement tax planning, paying for healthcare, investing for income, and more. If you've saved at least $300,000 for retirement, register now by calling 314-626-8817. There's no tuition if you call today, so call 314-626-8817.
Advisory services offered through Financial and Tax Architects, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Financial and Tax Architects.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. This new year, make some resolutions that will improve the environment. Resolve to use less gas in your car. You can carpool to work a couple of days a week. Use public transportation like buses or trains. Combine errands to make fewer trips. And take a walk for any distances of a mile or less. And think about an electric car when looking for your next vehicle. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
It's Chiefs football Sunday as they take on the Chargers in L.A.
On three, ready?
Pregame at 2, kickoff 3:25. Hear the game here on your home for Chiefs football, KMOX.
It's a Great Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley, taking you for another 40 minutes or so. We'll take you to 8 o'clock tonight. A little bit before 8 o'clock, we'll get a preview of tonight's Rachel Zimmerman show. Rachel Zimmerman is going to join us on the program right now, though. We go back to the Quiver River Electric guest line. Very happy to welcome back onto the program. He is the beat writer covering the Blues for the Post-Dispatch and STL Today. He is Matthew DeFranks. You follow him on Twitter at @MDeFranks. Matthew, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Absolutely, I'm doing great.
What have you learned about the Blues and maybe specifically Drew Bannister in his short time as the interim head coach?
Yeah, it's been a little bit different. I wouldn't say it's been drastic changes from when the Blues were under Craig Berube previously, but the biggest thing that jumps out to me is that the games are actually much more competitive. They're much tighter. The biggest issue that the Blues ran into earlier this season was a lot of inconsistency. You didn't know which Blues team would show up on a night-to-night basis, whether they would lose by 3 or win by 3, and there wasn't really much in between. But in the first 9 games of Drew Bannister's tenure so far in St. Louis, the Blues have been in 8 of them. 8 of them have been tight games. The only one that hasn't was a 6-1 loss in Tampa Bay. And there's something to be said for, even though they lost over the last weekend to Colorado and Pittsburgh, they didn't really play all that poorly. They probably deserved more than 0 points out of those 2 games. And before the season, Doug Armstrong kind of mentioned that if you're going to lose, you have to lose the right way. And the last few times that they've been losing has been the right way. So that's been one thing, the competitive aspect of it. And then the other thing is accountability from Drew Bannister to his players. We saw in Tampa Bay when Pavel Buchnevich was benched for the third period after too many penalties. We saw in Pittsburgh when Sammy Blais was benched after a bad penalty in the second period. And then even today, when Jakub Vrana is back in St. Louis, he starts on the fourth line, not on the power play, and he's going to have to earn his way up. So and competitiveness and accountability were the two things that Doug Armstrong wanted out of the Nets head coach, and Drew Bannister's kind of given it to him so far in his first 9 games.
Do you get the sense that the Blues are happy that Verana wasn't claimed and they got the opportunity to send him down and bring him back up, or is that just sort of the hand that they've been dealt?
Yeah, I think it's probably what they're working with right now. No one would ever say it, but truth serum, probably they're hoping that maybe he gets claimed and someone else takes the rest of his salary off the Blues books, right? It's a risk that you take when you put a player on waivers. You know that that's a possibility. And, we'll see what he looks like when he plays tomorrow here in Carolina, because when he was in the NHL earlier this season, it wasn't up to the standard that he set last year after coming over from Detroit in the trade. But he did go down to Springfield. He got 8 points in 7 games, 4 goals, 4 assists. And there has been historically a little bit of a bump for him, coming up to the NHL or going to a different team. He has performed well in his first kind of stint with a new team, despite it being perhaps in the same organization. So, it's up to him now to kind of make himself more valuable, get more ice time, and get power play and get better opportunities.
You're 100% right about those 2 losses against Colorado and Pittsburgh, that those losses didn't feel the way many of their losses felt this year, especially that game against Colorado. You could argue that they outplayed the Avalanche in that game. At the same time, it was back-to-back losses, and then they play that game against the Canucks, and it almost feels like if they lose against Vancouver, you're almost back to where you were before. So to that end, how important was it for them to put the kind of effort they did on the ice and find a way to win that Vancouver game?
Yeah, I mean, it was big. I mean, you look at what if they lose that game, they're back to 500. They're 5-4 under Bannister. Suddenly things, as you said, didn't really look all that different, than they did when Craig Berube was fired. And, I still think that the way that the Blues have to look at this season is that, sure, the results matter, but it's about kind of the way they play and the storylines within it, right? I mean, we all know what Robert Thomas is doing, and he's a big part of the future. And that's probably, it could be the biggest thing that comes out of this season is his development as a number 1 center, more so than if the Blues lose in 5 games in the first round to Vegas or whatever happens the rest of the year, right? Those will kind of be afterthoughts, I think. Obviously, the team wants to make the playoffs. It's helpful for fan interest. It's helpful for experience. There's always a saying that anything could happen. I'm not a big believer in that in the playoffs, but it's part of not creating a losing culture is making the playoffs and being competitive. So I understand why they want to do that. But in the end, this year is going to be about the bigger stories and how do they transition to that next era of Blues hockey.
Jordan Kyrou clearly has played better since the coaching change, but he's still not playing to the level of his contract. How much is Drew Bannister getting the full-time head coaching job connected to his ability and the staff's ability to find a way to kind of unlock Kyrou?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Berube got 37 goals out of him last year, right?
Yeah,
and that didn't really help him this year. So I don't know how much of it is tied directly to Kyrou's production. We have seen strides earlier this season and a little bit more lately in Kyrou's overall game. I think early on when he wasn't scoring, you could point at him, winning battles or back checking, breaking up plays, and those were things you could count on from him earlier on when he wasn't scoring. And there was probably a 2 or 3 week period where all of that kind of eroded, and there was nothing really going on for Kyrou, and it just so happened to coincide with Berube's dismissal. So as far as Bannister and Kyrou, that was one of the things that he spoke a lot about when he first took over in St. Louis those first few days on the job. He basically said, we need to get Jordan Kyrou going, and the best way I know to get Jordan Kyrou going is to put him with Buchnevich and Thomas. So they've been together the entire time under Bannister. And this afternoon, actually, I asked Bannister after Blues practice, hey, you've talked about wanting more depth scoring. How have you kind of found found a way to fight the urge to split up that top line? And essentially, he said, we have the guys in the depth that can do it, and so we're gonna have to count on them to do their job, because the top line is creating a lot of chances and really playing well, and he doesn't want to break those up. So as long as that top line is going that way, I think we can see a lot of Thomas Buchnevich and Kyrou all together, and that, I think, in itself will help Kyrou get going a little bit more.
Matthew DeFranks from the Post-Dispatch and STL Today continuing to join us. A couple more questions for him. You mentioned the accountability. You referenced the Pavel Buchnevich situation. A guy being benched in that situation certainly isn't a rare thing, but maybe the way Bannister handled it in the postgame was where he very publicly talked about the expectations and why they did what they did. What's been the reaction to that part of it specifically? Because I did think it was a little bit jarring for some, including myself, to see him be as open as he was about that decision.
Yeah, I don't really think it's been much of a big deal. I mean, that's now almost 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And Buchnevich, even 2 days after it happened, I mean, he came back and had a great game against the Panthers a couple nights later. So he was kind of past it, and I think it's not something that Bannister's kind of shied away from either. He said, this is the standard. People have to earn their ice time, and he didn't, and he understands that. And I think I like to think that whenever we hear from a coach about a situation like this is not the first time he's saying those types of things, or in the few weeks since that, it's not the first time he said that sort of thing to a player. So and even today when we talked to Bannister, he said he talked to Verana, and Verana said he talked to Bannister about, hey, you're gonna have to earn your ice time, and that's pretty much the message to all of the Blues. He said, yeah, he's not special. No one's special. Everyone has to earn their ice time, and that's really the main lever that coaches have in terms of, I guess, both punishment and motivation, is kind of putting their ice time up or down. And yeah, I don't think there's been much of a surprise on where Bannister is in that, and what the standard is at this point.
He is Matthew DeFranks. He covers the Blues for the Post-Dispatch and STL Today. You follow him on Twitter at @MDeFranks. Matthew, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it and look forward to talking to you again down the line.
Absolutely, Sam.
Awesome. Very good. There's Matthew DeFranks joining us via the Quiver River Electric guest line. So we all know that social media can be a pretty toxic place. I have a love-hate relationship, as many do, with social media, because I can't get off it. But at the same time, I constantly get frustrated by it. Yesterday might have been the single most frustrating social media day I have ever had in my life. And it was all connected to the Cardinals and the Billy Joel Sting concert announcement. We're going to talk about this coming up in just a moment as we roll on with the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Join your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra and conductor laureate Leonard Slatkin for Porgy and Bess, a performance that explores the way jazz has enriched the orchestral world. Featuring music by George Andheil and Duke Ellington, as well as George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess, this is a must-see and hear event with your SLSO. January 12th at UMSL's Two Hill Performing Arts Center. Tickets at slso.org.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Ribicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Ribicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get
the power of doing it right.
Detailed project proposals, excellent customer service, and trusted professionals who get the job done on time and on budget.
The power of experience.
We're kings of the scaffolding and pros with the stucco. We've been there, done that. Get your project started at CertaPro.com and get
the power of Pro.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. We are offering up to $100,000 savings on our designer market homes and special McKelvey financing of 5.5%, 30-year fixed, or 4.5% in the first year with our 2-1 buydown. At Inverness at Bryan and Feisey Roads, we have our luxurious LaSalle display home for sale. This professionally decorated ranch is loaded with all the most popular features. Hurry, these deals won't last. Visit McKelveyhomes.com today.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It's a Great Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX into our final 25 minutes worth of the program today. Next week is going to be a little bit of an odd week between Billikens basketball and some other things. We're going to do the show. We've got the Billikens coaches show on Monday from 6 to 7 from Humphreys, and then we're just going to be out there from 7 to 8 doing Sports Open Line. We're already set up to broadcast out there, so would love to certainly see you there. We'll do our normal countdown to opening day on Thursday, but yeah, Billikens basketball, both men and women, a few nights. So we don't have do we have any full shows? I don't think we have a single full 6 to 8 o'clock show next week, so it's going to be a little bit of a different week. I'm not trying to be like dramatic about what I'm about to talk about. I'm really not. I'm not a dramatic kind of guy, but I was really disappointed with people on Twitter yesterday. And I shouldn't be. You should never, ever, ever be disappointed by the actions of people on Twitter. You should have the lowest possible standard for the way people act on Twitter. So maybe my first mistake is having too high of standards for people. But yesterday, look, I'm not always right about stuff. And I say this all the time. I've got no problem telling you when I got something wrong. Because you know what? We're not debating if Lucan Baker should put a bunt down when he's leading off the second inning in a game that the Cardinals are already leading by 5. Like, no, of course he's not. Like, that's not what you debate. You discuss items that have a little bit of nuance to them, that, one person can take one side, another person can take another side, and you're just not always going to get it right. That's the nature of talk radio, of anything. And not that I'm really debating, but the topics that I talk about, if you disagree with me, more often than not, when you disagree with me, you've got valid reasons for it. And I love that. One of my favorite things to do is during Cardinal season, doing the post-game show, and when people call up and disagree with me, and we can kind of go back and forth on it. We don't have to agree with each other at the end of the call, but that's what we do. So I don't always get things right. I know I don't always get things right, but I was amazed because there's some things I just know. There's some things that I'm 100% sure of. And I am 100%, no shadow of a doubt, sure that the Billy Joel Sting concert that the Cardinals announced yesterday, I am 100% sure that has zero, not 0.1%, not 0.00001%. It has 0% impact on what the Cardinals do in terms of roster decisions. There is zero correlation between a concert announcement and any baseball-related activities. John Mozeliak did not call up Billy Joel and say, hey, the Cardinals are going on their final road trip in September. We got an open night at Busch Stadium. How would you like to grab your buddy Sting and come to St. Louis? I'll get Michael Gersh on the line. We'll work it out, and then we'll head to the like. That is a ludicrous thing to think that in any way, shape, form, anything, that the baseball operation was impacted by a decision to have a concert. Like, and I don't think I shouldn't even be saying this on the radio. This is as common sense as it gets. And, I see wild and wacky and weird and wrong things on social media all the time. And I don't make a segment out of them. I don't. Because you'll say something and somebody will disagree with you and you'll know they're wrong, but it's one person, and it's one person on social media. For all you know, it's a bot. It might not even be a real person behind it. So I'm not going to sit here and do an entire segment on this program because somebody said something on social media. What floored me, what got me, what made me so incredibly disappointed yesterday was the number of people who argued with me about somehow this concert announcement being a negative thing for the Cardinals, and how dare they schedule a press conference, and why would they be scheduling a concert when they need to be finding pitchers, like things like this, which are just, they're wacky. They're wacky. They're wrong. They are as incorrect as they possibly can be. And it was all over the place. Kevin Wheeler talked about it a little bit earlier today on the Dave Glover show, because he saw and where this all started, by the way, was I covered the press conference yesterday. I'll be the first to admit it was kind of a weird press conference. I wasn't sure why they had it. I don't know if they've ever done a press conference for a concert announcement before. It's cool that Billy Joel and Sting are coming to St. Louis. I'm glad. Anytime St. Louis can get big events, I think it's good for the city. Is that the first? I'd like to see that show. It's not a show that I would like that, I'm going to spend my life savings on to go. It's a nice show. I understand the musical impact of Billy Joel and Sting and what it means for these guys to be coming to St. Louis. It's a nice announcement. Did it require a press conference? I don't know. Part of me wonders what, it's a Live Nation deal. They're like the concert promoters or the concert organizers or whatever it might be. Maybe part of it is trying to, massage that relationship a little bit with Live Nation, so you continue to get some opportunities to bring some big shows. I don't know. I don't know if Live Nation has been the promoter of previous events at Busch Stadium. And I mean, they run concerts there every year. There's some people on social media have said, oh, they don't care about the baseball because it's going to tear up the field. There was concerts last year. Matt Pajeski, who was there was the country music. What was the big show this past year? That came to Busch. Yeah. Didn't he do like 2 shows, 2 nights?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Guess what? Field looked great when the Cardinals came back. Field was fine. There was no impact on the field. The only time that I can ever remember the field being impacted by something, wasn't there a soccer match years ago? Again, I wasn't living here at the time, but I just remember reading how the field was kind of torn up because of a soccer match that was played at one point. But the Busch Stadium grounds crew is incredible, and everything that they do to prepare the field for the concert, so it's great. So it's not a field issue. It's not a field issue at all. I couldn't believe that this was a thing. It was It was the dumbest thing that I have ever been involved with in social media. That people honestly believe that the Cardinals should not be making concert announcements. And then people said, oh, the Cardinals don't hold an end of season press conference, but they're willing to hold a press conference about a concert. That's how I imagine them saying it if they were doing so. Did I like that the Cardinals didn't do an end of season press conference? No. I would have rather they did it. It's something that they do almost every year. The only thing I kind of understood where they were coming from, just in the sense that the narratives hadn't changed. Like, we talked with John Mozeliak a lot down the stretch of the season. And what he said 2 weeks before the season ended or 3 weeks before the season ended, honestly, what he said at the trade deadline, like, nothing changed. Nothing really changed. So I understood from a Cardinals perspective them saying, you know what, there's nothing new to say, so why are we going to do this press conference? I understood that. Did I agree with it? No, not really. You do the press conference. It's something that gets done every year. I would have rather them done the press conference. But the low-hanging fruit of, oh, they can't even do an end-of-season press conference, but they can do a press conference about concert announcements, it completely ignores the fact that it's two different people. In fact, I had somebody on Twitter. I was investigating. I was engaged with this person, trying to, go one step at a time and peel back the layers and find the origin of where this person was coming from. And they said that they didn't like the baseball people being involved in the concert announcement. At that point, I actually stopped engaging because I knew it was pointless. It was totally, utterly pointless because the baseball people weren't involved. Like, Bill DeWitt III was involved, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have his hands on baseball stuff at all, but he's the team president. He oversees more of what's happening on the business side than he oversees the baseball side. I did not see John Mozeliak at the Billy Joel press conference yesterday. I did not see Michael Gersh. I did not see Randy Flores. I did not see Gary LaRocque. Like, I didn't see any of these guys because it wasn't a baseball thing. It was a business entity announcing a concert at a venue. Busch Stadium is a venue, and they use it sometimes for concerts. They use it a lot for baseball games, but it's more than, if I owned a baseball team, I'd want to be opening up my doors as much as possible. I think about this sometimes when I drive by Enterprise Center on a Friday night or a Saturday night and nothing's going on. All I can think to myself is, man, they're losing money tonight. This is a Friday night and they didn't find anything for tonight. This is a Saturday night and they didn't find anything for tonight. If I've got a venue, I want my venue operating events as often as possible. So the Cardinals, as a business organization, there's a baseball side, there's a business side. They scheduled a concert. And somehow, some way, and if they don't do a press conference, this never would have blown up into what it was. But not to just completely repeat everything that I just said, there was a abnormal number of people out there who honestly believe that press conference should not have been held, that the Cardinals should not have scheduled a concert, that somehow they lost their focus on improving the roster because they're bringing in Billy Joel and Sting. And I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. If that's your thought process, if you believe that, you're wrong, and you should probably kind of try to figure out why you think that. That should have never been a thing yesterday. Yet here we were, and I'm talking about it today. I was so frustrated. Can you tell? Can you tell that I was frustrated? Just a little bit. All right, when we come back, we'll have a much more positive conversation. Our good friend Rachel Zimmerman from the Rachel Zimmerman Show. She joins us next here on KMOX.
Every step you take, I'll be watching.
You know, the Midwest money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit to tell you that's for sure. That's Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, antique firearms, military relics, uniforms, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring it to Midwest Money at 5900 Hampton in South St. Louis to find out. Plus, Midwest Money is home of the largest model train layout in St. Louis. And the first Sunday of every month, bring your family to see this great model railroad exhibit, and it's free. My advice to you is to bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. So come on in. They'd like to meet you at Midwest Money. You'll be happy you did.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. This new year, make some resolutions that will improve the environment. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans. Reuse paper and plastic bags and get a reusable bag for groceries. Recycle old clothes by donating them to charity. And recycle old electronics like TVs, computers, and cell phones at appropriate e-waste facilities. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Red Kingdom is back at Ballpark Village January 7th when the Chiefs face the Chargers. Enjoy the pre-party at Ballpark Village. Then get ready for the kickoff. Grab your friends along with King MOX and Bud Light and huddle up for the game at the best watch party in town. For more details on how to reserve your table, head to kingmox.com/events. Watch the Chiefs with King MOX and Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get
the power of a cut above.
Decades of expertise to transform your home. From so-so to virtuoso.
The power of neighborhood painters.
We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put
the power of pro
to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. While we celebrate the reversal of Roe v. Wade, there is still much work to be done to support life and pregnant women before they cross state lines. Together, we can provide the love, support, and options that women need to choose life for their children. Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800-403-5569. What do you have to lose? Call 800-403-5569. Again, 800-403-5569.
This is America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX as we do start to wrap things up for the week, and we're very happy to be able to welcome into the studio somebody you're going to be hearing a whole lot of in a little bit more than an hour during the Rachel Zimmerman Show here on KMOX. It is Rachel Zimmerman. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Matt Pauley.
This is the first time we've really talked on the radio since Christmas and New Year's and everything. First off, DGS once again involved with Hardee's and doing your project with them, and you raised so much money. I know you guys are really proud of that.
Very proud and very proud of the audience. I mean, we obviously couldn't do it at all without them. And they come through every year and they help us smash our goals, and they're just so giving. And one thing that, just was really impactful this year, I just couldn't believe how much people were giving, because I kept seeing story after story of like, yeah, charities just aren't making as much money this year because, inflation's up, wages are down, this and this. People just don't have the disposable income they did at one point. So the fact that the KMOX audience and the DGS audience still, I mean, we were just at the same pace as we always were. So I was just very, very grateful for that.
It is really cool. It says a lot about the audience, as you mentioned. I always think about this with the Salvation Army, because you see the bell ringers, but nobody carries cash anymore. If they were to open up their books, I think it would be a huge decline in what they bring in.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. There were several times I felt bad walking past those kettles and I just didn't have anything on me. But Hardee's did something really great for us this year. They let you just round up at the register. So even if you didn't want to buy a sticker or whatever, you could donate 25 cents, 37 cents, whatever, to get up to that next dollar. And I think that really helped.
I was somewhere where there was a bell ringer, and my daughter, who's 4, asked me about it. And it was a really good kind of learning opportunity for her about there's people, we're really blessed in everything that we have, but there's some people who are not as blessed, and it's an opportunity for us to help others. And luckily I had $1 in my wallet, and I gave it to her, and she ran up and, put it in. The guy who was ringing the bell handed her the bell, and he let her ring it for a little bit. But I don't have a lot of wins as a dad, but I felt like that was a big win.
Yeah. And by the way, I have not been on the show since you announced the next baby. Yeah. So congratulations publicly. That's Thank you. Cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And, it's going to happen right in the middle of baseball season. So my life is not going to be hectic at all during that.
Nonstop chaos.
Yes, that's what we're all about. Okay, so Rachel Zimmerman show tonight. Tell me what's going to be going on.
Tonight, I get to talk to KMOX's own Debbie Monterey, which was really cool for me because I really look up for Debbie. So it was great to have her on the show and just kind of get to know her a little bit better, get to know some stuff about her career journey. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, it's great for us here. We have so many amazing people here, but you look at the newsroom and people like a Kevin Killeen and a Carol Daniel leaving and retiring recently. We still have amazing people out there, but you look at like a Debbie and a Michael and all these folks. I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but it is just the institutional knowledge from the people who have sat in one of the best radio, if not the best radio newsrooms in the country. It's so cool to be able to talk to them and hear their stories and all of that.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to talk to living, working legends like that. I mean, I'm so proud to be here and to they shouldn't let me in here with the newsroom people. Like they're incredible, and Debbie's incredible, and we had a really great talk. So I'm excited for people to hear it.
Yeah, sometimes like I'll be doing something stupid on Sports Open Line and like, I'm doing this on KMOX right now.
Yep, I definitely know that feeling.
I did. So yesterday was the announcement from the Cardinals about the concert coming up, and I did 2 news reports for news, and one of them I ran Joe Buck making like a joke about Weird Al's coming, Weird Al Raboski, and it was a really funny joke. And I thought about it for a moment. I'm like, is this below the KMOX standards to put something, really stupid like this in the middle of a newscast? Luckily, everybody was okay with it, so we were in good shape.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Joe Buck. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's Joe Buck. So that's always a good thing. So Rachel Zimmerman show tonight at 9:00, and then again tomorrow at 7. Is that right?
7 a.m.
Okay, very good. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Matt.
That's Rachel Zimmerman. This has been a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Thanks so much for being tuned in. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk to you coming up on Monday. The Takeout with Major Garrett is next. Rachel Zimmerman show after that right here on KMOX.
New year, new room, no tax. We're on a mission to save you money in 2024 at Miller Furniture and Mattress, with huge discounts in every category going on now through January 16th.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. Right now, you save the sales tax on all in-stock furniture and double the tax discount on 30 different mattress styles.
Save on all Flex-Steel sectionals, sofas, love seats, chairs, and recliners. For a limited time, double your discount on select Flex-Steel styles.
We're receiving custom order discounts from many of our Amish craftsmen. Save hundreds on our large selection of solid wood Amish-made furniture in Belleville, Lake St. Louis, Ellisville, and our newest location in Fairview Heights.
Plus, receive a free adjustable